Welcome back, guys, to Final Fantasy IX and our Excalibur II playthrough, our perfect game. And today we're going to be covering section D3-03 of the Tom and C's guide over on GameFAQs. The link to that is in the video description as well. And this is an episode I wasn't particularly looking forward to, but I actually ended up enjoying it. Maybe because I had low hopes for it. It didn't end up being as bad as I expected. I know a lot of people, reading from the comments in previous episodes, were warning me about this particular episode, especially about the forced encounter later on, and about how many attempts that was going to take. But, well, I was pleasantly surprised. I'll leave it at that for now. Anyway, let's not jump ahead. To begin with, we're going to make our way over to the card stadium here in Trino and face off against the champion. And we do need to win this particular card battle, because we'll get the rebirth ring for doing so. And I found it fairly simple, to be honest. I think I got it on my first try here, and I'm not very refined at the Tetramaster card game, especially because I haven't done it for so long. It's been a few years since my last Final Fantasy IX playthrough, and this happens to be only the third card game we've done in this particular playthrough anyway. So we're just going to go ahead and select the same cards we selected before: the Armstrong card, not Tombury, the Tantarian card, and the Shiva card, the Nova Dragon and Ramu. And that should be enough to get us through this battle here. So there's the win. We'll get the rebirth ring for that, and then we're going to have a whole bunch of cutscenes to watch. There's going to be quite a few cutscenes in this episode, so be prepared. Okay, so we're going to get to make a choice here, and we get to gather information is the choice we're going to make, and we're going to select Blood, Sun and Kohel. That will get us the Angel Earrings. For all these other options, just choose the default, so you can just mash the X button to get through the rest. And then we're going to go ahead and just watch these cutscenes before eventually taking control of Steiner in this section here. Now, just be warned, once you get control of Steiner, you only have a brief window to open the menu, so make sure you do that after Beatrix's dialogue, and Steiner's dialogue, in fact. And you want to go ahead and remove Steiner's equipment, because we do need to get him killed off very quickly, so that he doesn't get any experience here. And we can go ahead and just optimise Beatrix. Right, so we're going to have some forced encounters. Oh, don't forget or to neglect to put Beatrix in the back row as well, since that will just mean she'll take some less damage. And on top of that, she'll also have the stats that she's gained from the levels that you gained with her earlier on when she was in the party. So you'd be surprised that she can actually take a good few hits throughout these encounters. That said, they are fairly simple. So we want to get Steiner killed off in this first battle as quickly as possible. And then we're going to be using Beatrix to cast the life spell. You can even use the full life spell. Now we're going to be going through quite a few of these enemies. So the guide does recommend you know, using elixirs and whatnot when you need to regenerate MP with Beatrix. But you can just go ahead, if you're playing on PS4, Steam, etc., and just pause the battle and then hit the battle assist command twice to turn it on and off. And then when you unpause, Beatrix will be fully healed each time you do that. So that's probably the best thing to do, quite frankly. And the guide also says that due to the magic evade of these enemies, they do have a tendency to miss when you cast life on them, or the life spell I should say has a tendency to miss. But I didn't experience that, but if you are worried about it, then cast full life instead of life, since it does have a much higher hit chance than the normal life spell. One thing you might have noticed that I did as well is once we'd sorted their equipment out before that first battle, we ran around the other side of the first Mistodon in the first area so that we didn't have to battle it. So make sure you do that as well, otherwise you will end up being thrust into a fight that you don't need to do. So as you can see, Beatrix is quite hardy now with her extra levels that she's gained from the experience she's been absorbing. And she can take a couple of hits. When you're facing off against two such as here, I recommend attacking the one that doesn't attack, so you can interrupt its attack, if that makes sense. So that way we only had to put up with the attacks from one of these rather than both of them. And as you can see, I'm not having any issues here with getting this life spell to hit at all. Alright, so once we've gone ahead with this particular battle, what we're going to want to do now is just go back to our equipment menu. And we're just going to make sure that Beatrix is healed up, but before we do that, we're just going to take her equipment off, and then just make sure she's healed up with the Cura spell. And the reason for this, that we're doing this is the final opportunity we have to access the menu before losing Beatrix, so it is important to take the gear off at that particular moment. We're then going to have a sequence of these forced enemy encounters against these Mistodons. We're going to have 3 fights against one Mistodon each fight, and then another fight, a final fight, a 4th fight, where there are 2 Mistodons. So nothing we haven't faced already, just make use of elixirs, but if you are going to use elixirs, use them at the very end, you know, of the battle, really, just before you cast life. I mean, that's right at the start, let's be honest, isn't it? But otherwise, just use the battle assist command, which is what I do, since it saves you elixirs, and it's just better all round, in my opinion. And that's pretty much all there is to this section, so I'll let it play out. Okay, so that's the final Mr. Don defeated. And now we're just going to get through the experience screen here. And the view's going to switch over to Garnet here. And we're going to go ahead and take control of her at this particular point. Now, all we need to do once we've got control of Dagger is take her to the top of the castle. We haven't been there yet. So just follow the path that I take and it won't be a problem at all. Just head up here and then through these double doors. And then don't be tempted to go up these steps straight ahead. Instead, turn to the left here and go through this door, and this will bring us outside where we can continue on up. Outside, I meant into the tower. We do go outside after this bit. Okay, now we're outside. So this is a cutscene we can't skip on PS4, but I believe you can on PS1 if you do the cutscene skipping trick. But it's not a big deal that you can't skip this, since we make up the time using the speed up mode anyway. And just keep on heading up until eventually a bunch more cutscenes will commence. Some of them you can skip, but most of them are just in-game dialogue type cutscenes. Right, so back in control of Zidane now. We're going to make our way over to the Moogle to save. But just before we get there, we are going to sort out equipment. And this is where the RNG forced encounter comes into play. A lot of people have had to try this many, many times to get the RNG where it's needed. I'm going to probably annoy a lot of you in that I managed to get it to work first time. So since I'm going the combined path, this is what I'm going to do, since unfortunately there's no way to avoid the experience in this upcoming encounter. Somebody has to absorb it, and in our case that's going to be Freya. Freya is going to be the one levelling up at this point for this battle by absorbing the experience, which means we need to kill everyone else off before she finishes the fight. So here's how we're going to sort out equipment briefly. Zidane is going to equip the Exploder, the Ritual Hat, the Bone Wrist, the Survival Vest and the Black Belt, and he's going to have the HP plus 20%, Distract and Antibody abilities. Don't heal him at that point because he needs to be on 105 out of 126 health. As you'll see in a moment, he will be. And in terms of Freya, we're going to equip her with the Lemire's Tiara, Mithril Gloves, Linen Curious and the Pearl Rouge. And then we're going to save our game, that's very important. And now we're going to go ahead and take down the next forced encounter, which has caused a lot of people a lot of grief. So we're going to head over into the library, which is on the bottom floor over to the west. And this is what we need to do to get this battle done. Right, so this is the battle against the Tantarian. And it's a nasty fight because of the RNG that is required. First of all, we need somebody to cast an ore or throw an ore onto Zidane. And what that's going to do is put his health at 117, enough for him to use his Lucky 7 ability. He's then going to cast Lucky 7 on the boss and must do the maximum damage of 7, 7, 7, 7. If he does anything else, then you may as well reset at that point. Now once he's done that, 3 of your other characters are going to throw a high potion on the boss. He'd have opened up by this point, you see. and that's going to heal him. And the reason we want to do that is we don't want Zidane's next 2 casts of Lucky 7 to kill the boss. We just want to get him to low enough health for Freya to kill him when the other characters have been defeated. So obviously this is also dependent on Freya being kept alive and Zidane being kept alive. So here comes our Lucky 7, and I did actually mess up, there we go. In trying to manipulate the ATB gauges so that the bosses didn't fill up too soon, I was keeping the item menu open, forgetting that I hadn't actually selected Zidane's Lucky 7 ability. But fortunately, it all worked out well in the end. So we're going to throw those 3 high potions on him, as I say. And Zidane's going to get ready. He needs to do the next Lucky 7, which also has to hit for 7777. And in fact, he has to do that 3 times for the maximum Lucky 7 damage. Now, you are able to hit the boss if you mess up with Lucky 7 for a single point of 7 damage. Okay, so, you know, just a single digit of 7 damage, I should say. And you can do that twice. Now, you cannot hit him for 77, and you cannot hit him for 777, or that's going to bring his health too low for you to finish him off with Freya. So you always need to get 3 7,777s, but it doesn't matter if you get 1 or 2 single-digit 7s as well. If you don't, great. If you do, we can live with that. Once Zidane has cast all 3 maximum Lucky 7s, what we need to do at that point is use Freya to jump. Freya has to jump, and once she's jumped, cast a jump command, Vivi is going to cast a spell on the entire party. Look, there's our single digit 7, so that's okay. Vivi's going to cast a spell on the entire party in order to one-shot them so that Freya will come down from the jump, be the only person left alive, and will be able to one-shot the boss. That's how this is going to work. Lots of RNG. How I got this in 1 attempt, I have no idea, but I did, so I'm very grateful for that. And there's our 3rd cast, or our 4th cast of Lucky 7, but our 3rd cast of maximum damage. We haven't had any 77s or 777s, so we're absolutely fine. Freya has cast Jump, and now it's down to Vivi. I don't know what I'm doing here with Vivi, but you need to go down to the Bio spell, and with Bio, put it on your party, cast it on everyone, and that's literally all there is to it. The only thing that can go wrong at this point is if Freya misses with her attack. I don't know if it can happen. I'm guessing it can, just to annoy 1 or 2 of you that have probably restarted this many times. But there we go. We've finished the fight with just 1 party member left alive, which means in our case is Freya, which is exactly what we wanted. Freya is going to absorb all the experience, and we are very, very happy. If that confused you at all, then do check out Thomas's Game Facts Guide. Remember, we're doing session D3-03, and on the Tantarian battles, we followed strategy Y. So the strategy X and strategy Y. For the combined stats, you want strategy Y, which is what we did. So check that out if you need to. Once you've got control of Zidane, take him towards the top of the castle in the same way that we took Dagger a few minutes ago, and exactly the same path. And eventually we're going to get some more cutscenes, and our party will be waking up right by a save Moogle. Okay, so we're getting control back now, but before we go ahead and save, there's just a few bits we need to do and cover. And the first is to grab the chests from this area. There's 2 that I know of anyway. We've got an armlet there, and I believe an elixir in the second chest. It's just past the Moogle here. There we go. Yeah, an elixir. And now we just need to do Magnet. Okay, so we need to accept the letter here for Mod Key. And that's it. We can go ahead and save at this point. We are done with D3-03. And I'm just going to show you my time so you can see where I'm at, and maybe you compare it to where you're at. The target time by this point is 7 hours 22 minutes 32 seconds, and at 6 hours 39 minutes 32 seconds we're still well ahead of schedule, which is fantastic. So thanks for stopping by today, folks. I hope you've enjoyed watching. If this video's helped you, don't forget to leave a like and come back soon, and we'll carry on with more of our Excalibur II playthrough. See you then.